Okay, now I'm going to move on to kind of finishing the drawers. The drawers I always take, and I've done these on here already. These are the 6x6 one. I always take my strips and cover all my edges. Number one, it makes it nice when you put paper on them. It covers it up as far as seeing the raw edges of the chipboard. So I've already cut my strips to length and pointed them and everything so that this would go a little bit quicker. So what I do first is I start with the short edges, both inside and outside. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I didn't cut the inside ones for this one, I guess, so I guess I'll have to do that. So I start by putting on the outside first, and then I go put on the inside, and then I put the long ones on and the end ones on. And the reason for that is because it covers up the top, and it makes it look a lot nicer. So let me do this. We're going to cover these 4 corners here first. And this is what you're going to do to all your drawers. We're going to cover them all like this after you get them built, and you use your glossy accents, and it dries, and everything is good to go. Usually by the time you get done cutting all these strips to size, because I've cut a whole bunch at one time, so when you get done cutting them to size, then you end up with everything is dry, and you're ready just to continue, keep on working. So we're going to do this, and then I'm going to have to take a strip, and I kind of cheat with my strips when I do it, because what I do is I stand the strip in there, because I need to know how deep it is, and then I just cut it off. And then I just measure, I need 3 more, so there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we're going to cut our angles on them. Okay, so those are all cut. Okay, so now we're going to do the inside. And I am just going to peel off both sides when I do the inside instead of one at a time. Turn my drawer on its end like this, so you can just slide that down inside there. So you're going to go do all of those before you tackle your sides and stuff. And then see this one here, it kind of sticks up a little bit. Just take my scissors and I snip it. There you go. Okay, so continue putting on our 4 strips inside. Uh-oh, let's put that one in crooked. No, I am going to crease it with my, there we go. I'll crease it down in there with my bone folder. It'll still work because it's going to get covered up anyway. Okay, we have 1 more here. Here we are. Okay, so now we put this one in here. And I always go back and burnish them down with the bone folder, so you make sure you got a good stick. Okay, so those are all done that way. And then I take, I should have 4 of each size. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. There's 4. And with these, I stick on just the outside first on all 4 of them. So I'm going to put this on here this way. I kind of fold them back out of the way. Okay, so there's those. So then what you're going to do when you bend this over, you're going to see how this overlaps way out there. So you're going to have to cut this even more. You want to cut it so that when it folds, when you go to fold it down in, that angle hits right in that corner so it doesn't crinkle your paper. And sometimes it means more than one cut, just kind of a shave job. There. See, then when I fold that down, it's going to fold down in there nice. So you're going to go through and you're going to do that to each corner. I see I didn't get that one correct. This one I didn't get on there straight, but you pull down like that, you can burnish it and you can have another, you can make yourself a fold line so it's good. Okay. So then you got to go through and cut all of those, because you don't want them, when you fold it, you don't want it to buckle your paper. And the thing is, after you do it for a while, it'll just take one snip and you'll get it. Okay, then I go this. I leave my tape on there, and I go through. Oops, I didn't do this one. And I go through. And I go ahead and I fold them. Take your bone folder. Once you fold them over, take your bone folder the flat side down and run it across the top of all of them. Make sure that your fold lines are all on the top. And if for some reason they're not, you will be creating a new one, and that's good too. That's okay too. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I just go back and I peel them off and I stick them down because they're already formed to the shape. It's nice to cover the edges of the drawers up because it gives it a whole nice finished look. Okay, so now we're going to take our bone folder, burnish it down. Okay, now we're going to do basically the same thing on the bottom, except these are just a lot easier to do. So we're going to put these on this way. And I go end for end. So if I start on an end, I go to the other end when I put the second piece on. And then I move it to the side and do the sides. And then I always tell my girls when I'm working with somebody, now hold your mouth right and hopefully it fits in there good, and it just fits in there perfect. So that just goes perfectly in there. And I have one more to do. Now, you can also take, and I didn't cut any for this, but you also take in the bottoms around your perimeter in here and do the same thing. That way, if you decide you want to cover your drawers, you have cardstock at both ends so you can inset your paper. So we will quickly And usually when I do this, I just measure. Let's see, what do I got? About 5 5/8. So I need 2 5 5/8. So we'll go 5 5/8. I cut one, and then I use that one as my template to cut the second one with. And then this here in here is 4 1/4. Take another one, and we'll go down here to 4 1/4. Let's see. And there's one. Oops, flip it upside down. And there's 2. So then we're going to fold them back this way. So I just go ahead again and cut my angles on them. And then before I pull these off, I always test them, because a lot of times they end up being just a little too big and you need to trim just a little bit more off. So we'll get those cut, dump out my little pieces. And then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to fit it down inside there. And I'm going to make sure from corner to corner that it's covered, and it is. So that means I can take this off. And I take both sides off when you do this, because otherwise it's a pain in the butt to get in there and try to get it off. We're going to put that down in there. I stick my fingernail down in the corner in the seam, and I run that first. There. Okay, and then again, even though it's the same, I still test. Because sometimes, no matter how hard you try, you can't get things built straight. So you may have to take a little snip off somewhere. Something might not fit just quite right, whichever. Okay. Test this one. Okay, now see, this one's a little too tight. That means I'm going to cut this angle a little bit more. Not just a tad bit more. Okay, so that works. This just kind of gives a finished look to the inside of your drawer. And like I said, then if you decide you want to paper it, you can. See this little hook on the end? Right here is really handy for smashing those ends down. Oops, try it, test it first. Yeah. Okay, that one I snipped off enough to begin with. Alrighty. Okay. So there we are. There's our finished drawer. Everything is sealed and closed, and like I said, you can go ahead and paper that and just cut your paper to fit in between there and cover up that. So this is the bottom drawer. So we're gonna, that goes in the bottom. Okay. So now let's do this one. Okay. What did I do? I sure thought I cut insides and outsides for these, but I guess I did not. So what am I missing from this one? 1, 2, okay. Long, long, long. Short, long. There's the long one. Okay, those are the ends. Those are the sides. And to me, it's really important that I put these corner pieces on before I put the top ones on. So it's not like I would not do it, and because then when you add it later, it looks like I did one. Where is it? I have one that one of my drawers I did. This one, and you probably can't see it. This outside piece comes all the way up, and then you can see the angles on it right here. But I put this piece on first. So these two ends right here look, they got this little, and I just don't like the way it looks. So needless to say, I will try to remember to put these on first. So we got one there. Now you've noticed I've doubled up a lot of chipboard, but I will tell you, doubling up the chipboard sure makes them a lot more stable, and I'm so much more happier with how they feel. So I pretty much do that with my building. Okay. Okay, now we just peel these off and stick these guys on the inside. And there's times I won't do this way. If I'm working like with black paper for my strips, a lot of times I'll put these, I do the corners and I do the top, but for the bottom, I won't do the bottom, and then what I'll end up doing is I'll get some black gesso or some black acrylic paint and just paint the inside black. And then, because it's just the inside of a drawer. But I don't even know what paper I'm going to put on this thing yet. I haven't even decided that. I just had these strips made from before, so I thought I would go ahead and use them. Okay, so we have the inside there and the outside. So now we're on to our strips. So we're going to pull off one piece and put it on here. Fold it out. And the reason I fold it out is because it gets it out of my way for when I go to put these side pieces on. Otherwise, it just ends up being in the way. You notice I didn't fold that one out because it's the last one that's going to be going on over there. There. Okay. So now you can just pick any side you want and start and just cut your more of an angle. And then test it. Do a test fold to make sure it's going to go over okay. Okay, fold them, make sure they're going to be okay. Go ahead and burnish down the top like this. Make sure that your fold line is on the edge where it needs to be. Okay. Get out of there. Okay, so we'll go here. Okay, and then we'll do the outside, and I'll cut the ones for the inside and put them on later. They don't need to be on right now, and I showed you how with the on the other drawers. So we will go ahead and oops. Oh shit, my phone was off. Oh well. One more. Okay, so there's that one, and then it's snug. There. And there's the thing. I put it in one way, and it was really tight. I didn't want to force it in there. So then I flipped my drawer around the other way. It's still tight, but it's okay. It's going to work. Once you put a handle on it, it'll come out. It'll slide in and out really easy. So there's our 4 drawers. This is the 6-inch side, and this is the 5-inch side. So there's our drawers. So we're all set. Okay, now what the next step is, let me take all this off because I was sitting chipboard and marking it. This is the front piece. The next step I want to do is I want to put in, I'm going to build on the 6x5 side so that I can get my, that's the one that's going to have the tray in it. So, whoops, get those pieces over there. Okay, so now we're going to build in here. I don't know, let's see, how can I do this? Let's see if I can. Okay, that'll have to work. Let me get my mess out of the way here. And I apologize for the shakiness of the camera a little bit ago. I hit it, and it seems to be something I do quite regularly. I've got it closer because I wanted to make sure you guys could have a decent view. Okay, so here's my 5-inch side. So this is 5 inches this way, side to side, front, and then it's 6 inches front to back. So that's how it matches up with the 6x6 one. Okay, so this one, push the drawers in so they get out of the way. So I have, let's see, how do I have this separated over here? I've got, didn't even write on they were. Okay, first thing we have to put in is, what did I call? I don't remember what I called them. I called them, oh, guides. So when I make my top for my trunk, I line the inside of this with chipboard that sticks up 1/4 inch up above this. So when my lid closes, it gives a guide for the lid to close down on. So on this one, I'm going to need, I'm not going to do this edge here because this edge is going to go next to the 6x6. So this edge doesn't get one on either one of them. So I'm going to take this one, and the first thing I'm going to do is I have cut the strips to cover the top of these with. Because as you open and close your lid, and open and close your lid, and open and close your lid, this chipboard will get broke down. So paper protects it. So I'm going to put this on here this way. So we're going to line the top of them with paper, with the strips. Smooth them down flat. Okay. There's that one, and I see it hangs over a little bit right here, so I will just snip that off. Okay, so there's that one. And these I don't angle, I leave them straight. And I can see that this is going to overhang right there. Use that bone folder to get that flat down there. And there's that one. Oh, this one I did angle. And I don't want it angled. So that means I'm going to get me another piece. I do not want them angled for the top. I don't want any of the chipboard to end up being seen. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to get this down in here this way. Okay. Okay, so there's the, I might as well, while I'm doing this, let's go ahead and do the other side at the same time, because then that way they're done. So these pieces are 1/4 of an inch taller. So this piece here is 6 inches tall. So these pieces are 6 1/4 inches tall. Here's that one. Uh-oh, is that right? Yes. Don't know why I picked it up and it looked like it was the wrong size, but it's not. Just turn this edge off. Go ahead and well, we've got quite a bit sticking out there. Okay. Okay, so those are those. These 3 bigger ones go over into the other side. So we're just going to put those in there and get them out of the way. This out of the way. Okay. So I really don't glue anything down till I make sure everything fits as I want it to. So I'm going to take and stick. This is going to go at one end. Oh, and when you're doing things and you have, I said this before when I was doing it, and you have these corners here, just go ahead and corner around them. Just the bottom. You're not going to see them. Just go ahead, because this keeps it from binding up down in the bottom. This is a 1/4 inch rounder, and I'm going to go ahead and do these while I'm doing them. These are actually going to be covered up anyway, so it's not any worry to have these rounded. You're not going to even see them. Okay, there. So get all those done. Okay, so bring this back over here, and I'm going to put, this is a 5, this is, what is this? This piece is 5 inches wide and 6 1/4 inches tall. So I have 2 of those. I have this one for the front and this one for the back. Okay. And this distance right here that it sticks up this much. This is a 1/4 inch. This is where your lid will come down and rest on top of here. And we're going to end up doing these 3 sides as well. We're going to cover them as well. This is just a fitting process. So I've got the 2 there, front and back. And then this goes in there. I always lay it down and make sure I get it pushed down against the edge. So see, those come together really nice. See that? That's why you don't want to angle them, because they would look crappy. You would see your chipboard. Okay, so those are going to go there. Now, I'm going to leave those in there while we build some more. We're going to build, these are, I'm going to have a tray sit halfway down inside of here. So I'm going to put these, just like we built the drawers, I'm going to put these down inside there. But before I do that, again, I want to cover the edges of them. And with these, all we need to cover is the edge that's going to stick up that the tray is going to sit on. So I'm going to measure this and make sure. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and touch. Put this on here. Hold it. Flatten it. Fold it again. And really, you know, now that I say that, these should not be, you don't want these to show either. So those should not be angled. And I'm just going to, I'll waste that one, it doesn't matter. Okay, so those don't want to be angled either. So we're going to do it again. That's okay, those will get used somewhere down the line. They always do. Okay, so there's a 1, we need 2 of them. And here's my last package of these guys. Okay, so let's just do these one at a time. Okay. There's a little bit sticking right there. Okay. There's that one. Oops, this one is too short. What did I do? I don't know what I did. That's too short. Let's just put this piece back over the tape so we can save it for later. Oh, I know why. Because one of these pieces is longer. That's why. Okay. So. Okay, and then this one. piece sticking out there. Okay, one more. Now, these pieces, this is totally up to you. You can paper all this if you want. But if I paper them, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It just kind of depends. I will paper just here, and I'll paper it all the way to the edge and all the way down to the bottom. Instead of putting more paper on it to give you your border, I just go ahead and paper it down to the bottom. So it's really up to you how you want to do that. If you want to paper them, if you want to paint them, you can paint them too. I mean, it's going to be the inside of your trunk. You are going to see it though when you open it up and take out your drawer. So the way these go in is, make sure I get which one where. So there's a long one. It goes all the way down to the bottom. These are 3 inches tall. So that one goes down to the bottom. This one goes down to the bottom. Now this one here is a little short. It does not go all the way to the back side. So one of these is longer. It's this one. It's 1/8 of an inch longer. And it slides right down in there. And these fit really, really tight. You can see that they're really tight in there. They don't hardly move. They don't move at all. There. Okay, so there's this is the lip right here that my tray is going to sit in. So you can make that anywhere you want. You can bring it up here and make it, I made it half the distance, but you could bring it up taller and make it be, you could make it be 4 inches, so you only have a 2-inch deep drawer. I just did it halfway. So then I'm going to take this one, and this is my tray. So the first thing I have to do is you got to have 2 of these. The first thing I have to do is I need to set I'm going to set your drawer down in there to make sure that it goes in there easy. It goes in there easy, and I'm thinking by the time I get paper on it, it might be a little snug, so I'm going to just lightly shave off, shave a hair off there just to give it a little bit more room to fit once I put the paper around it. And then we're going to shave this side too. Okay, so now, see how that fits in there. Yeah, that's better. That is definitely better. Okay, so take that out of there. So you have 2, oh, that's right, I got to shave this one too. Let's see. How good can I guess? Since I didn't measure, I just cut it. Works good. Okay, so now I got to grab the crocodile. Okay, so in the middle of this tray, I put a knob. So we're going to find the middle of it. We're going to take we have 2 pieces, so we're going to take our ruler corner to corner, and I usually just somewhere in the middle. And then corner to corner. We just need to have an idea where the middle is. And then I take my crocodile, my big bite I should say, and I use the 1/8 inch. The 1/8 inch is about usually is all you need for a knob hole. So I'm going to put this under here, and I'm going to punch it out. So I have a hole there in the center of my piece. Now, the hole, let me grab a knob. I guess I should have had that ready. So I have my hardware. So you can pick whatever knob you want. Maybe I'll put this one in there. So see, you got a screw down here in the bottom, and you need to The reason for the hole is you're going to put this up through the hole. There. So there's my screw, and that's going to hold my knob on, and I went backwards with it. I wanted that X to be on the inside because I'm going to glue, these two pieces of paper are going to go glued together, or two pieces of chipboard are going to go glued together. So let's put this there. And that way the knob can go this way. There. And then you glue this on, and it gives you a finish. You don't see your screw back there. So let's go ahead, because you can still paper it even with it glued on, because you can just take off your knob, and then your screw will be where it needs to be. And I will show you around that screw, because I kind of want it to be in a permanent spot. I use this for metal, quick grip. You can get this at Walmart, you can get it at Joann's, whatever. And I'm going to put on here, I want to set that. I just kind of covered it with the glue because I want it to stay. See that? That's the quick grip. I want it to stay in place so you can take the knob off and on and not have it move. So I'm going to put these two together. Make sure that that is good and seated there. Oops. Don't get a mess in doing this. Okay. Okay, so there's that's going to be our drawer. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to build it just like we built the other drawers. I have these pieces. So these are 2 3/4 tall, 4 7/8 wide. So I have 2 of them. This piece is, let me see, where's my notes? This is 4 7/8 by 4 7/8 this way, 5 3/4 this way. But then I took that little bit off of it. So you will figure, once you put your pieces in, then you'll fit it and you'll make sure what it's going to be like. So then we're going to take our good old glossy accents here. We're going to glue this down, just like we did the other ones. Okay, so. Oh, you know what? Now that I do this, I think about it. I shaved those. Let's get this off of here. I shaved these pieces off. So that means when you shave something off, you got to shave the other pieces off. So I need to take all of these right over here and shave them off. Okay, so those got shaved off. So now, let's see if I did enough. Oh yes, perfect for that one. Okay, so we'll get these on. Glad I caught that. It's the only thing when you start manipulating things, you got to make sure you do it for everything so that it fits good. Okay, so there's that one again. Just going to wipe this off. Get me a baby wipe to clean my finger off with. Okay. And this one's going to go on here. This way, here it needed to be. Nope, that works. Almost looked like it needed to be shaved a little bit more. Okay. Okay, so there's that. Get that out of the way. Now we're going to be doing these, and these will fit fine. So again, we do the one long and two short sides for this, so that this will meet up just fine. And see, with that knob in there, you can reach your hand down in there and pull the tray out. Okay, so there's that, and we got one more to go. Okay. Clean it off. Okay. So there's those. And then we will work on doing the edges of the box.